Welcome to the Gift Club. I'm really looking forward to talking to my guest today, loyalty expert Steve Hoban, who is currently Chief Executive Officer at Suresite Group. With 10 years behind him at Pick n Pay Group, one of Africa's largest and successful food retailers, and Asda here in the UK, as well as leading marketing and loyalty at Lakeland, Steve can tell some great stories from which we can all learn and appreciate, including launching Africa's biggest loyalty programme. So great to have you. Thank you very much for joining me, Steve. I'm going to go straight into my first question. So I'm sure listeners of the loyalty world and viewers would love to hear more about how you launched Africa's biggest loyalty program, Steve. Can you walk us through the story of why, how and when?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it was a really important topic that the company had been discussing for quite a while, actually. And loyalty in the South Africa market, there were programs out there, but no leading grocery retailer really had a program. So, there was a view of there could be a first mover advantage there. But equally, concern around the costs and the construct of a loyalty program, because the arena that we were looking to enter into was a points-based scheme, which has liability and costs associated with it. So the journey up to making the decision to launch was quite a long one, and a lot of financial modeling done. How would we launch? Which partner should we use to help the business? Because frankly, Pick n Pay as an organisation didn't have the internal knowledge to run a loyalty program. And I think one of the things that I'd reflect on and say, generically about loyalty programs is really understanding why you're doing it and what you're getting into it for. And often, businesses will talk about, well, it's around the hook, the promotion, the gift, if you like. What's the loyalty program about? Is it points? Is it vouchers? Is it partnerships? Is it coupons? And get very much anchored on, well, it's a reward for the customers. But missing the sight of ultimately what you're trying to do is grow your business, right? Whether that's through more customers, whether it's through driving basket size, whether it's versus, frequency of shop. So ultimately you want to grow your business and you want to drive sales. And the promotional aspect of it, the hook side of it, the reward element is a really important element of doing that and achieving that. But equally, and I think what, we often miss is actually in doing that, you're gaining understanding and insight and data about your customer. And that's often seen as a secondary reason for doing it. But actually, in my experience over time, that's actually the primary reason to do it, because the more you know about your customers, the more you can understand what is the challenge that you're trying to address. Is it frequency? Is it basket size? Is it purely number of customers? Is it retention, i.e. you're losing lots of customers? And once you know that problem, then actually you can figure out which construct to push harder. Is it points? Is it coupons? Is it partnerships? Is it experiences? Plus you can start to use it to be more direct in your communications with your customers. So, have you launched a scheme where a customer has to give you contactability, for example? And if you have, you can then talk to them in a different way. It's no longer about a flyer or a poster in the store or a radio ad or a TV ad. It suddenly becomes much more targeted, which is more cost effective and also below the radar from your competitors. They can't see what you're doing. So, quite a long-winded answer, but it starts for me in understanding what's your strategic intent of the program. What are you trying to achieve? And then you can start to peel back the layers of, well, what should it be? Should it be points? Should it be coupons? How am I going to collect data? How am I going to do the insight? All these sorts of things. And that's for me where the whole journey started with Pick n Pay. Was we had clarity about what it was that we were trying to do, and it was clear in our heads at that moment that it was a thank you to customers, but also a real way of understanding consumers, because the business was built around customers and consumers. We didn't really understand them as well as we thought we did.
Oh, great. And how did you measure the success of the program, Steve?
That's the golden question that, I'm smiling because actually with loyalty programs, it's eminently measurable. And what you find as you launch them is suddenly the business puts a lens onto it because they can see the cost and you can actually measure it back. Whereas with a lot of the other activities and events and things that you're doing as a business, they're less easy to actually measure. So all attention kind of moves into the loyalty arena and the loyalty world and goes, well, it's costing all this over here. And, are we seeing the sales come through? When you come in on a Monday and you thumbnail down your P&L and you go, well, we didn't grow, or and the way you measure it it's not simple, but the experience I've had is doing it versus control groups. So you can really, and it's a truly incremental uplift. So rather than saying I sold 5 cans of Coca-Cola and now I've sold 8, you can actually, with a control group, the measure that you'd have sold 6 anyway. So actually the true increment is only 2. And that's really powerful actually, and can be uncomfortable because it uncovers the, costs in the business and what things are being successful and what's not being so successful, and quite rightly brings a pressure onto the person that's running the program to justify the value of the program. You can use your loyalty program to also measure the success of your non-loyal customers or customers that aren't members of your club, which also is insightful because then you can start to figure out, well, hopefully you'll be seeing, or you should be seeing, that your loyalty customers are more valuable than your non-loyal members. How do you acquire more of the customers that you've already got to become members of the club or the program that you've got, and therefore grow them in partnership? So that's, I guess, another point is often people will talk about loyalty clubs as an opportunity to acquire new customers. But actually, you've got this rich field usually of customers within you that you can just grow. There's a saying, be more for your more loyal customers, and you'll drive value, and that definitely starts to play out.
Okay, great. So you joined Lakeland in 2019 to design and launch their loyalty program. This also had some amazing success as well. So what did you do? Did you do anything specific that others can learn from that experience?
Yeah, I mean, the 2 very fundamentally different businesses. So, you look at Pick n Pay and it's, a grocery retailer, it's 1,500 stores, I think, with multiple different formats, everything down from a fuel forecourt all the way up to a big hypermarket, massive frequency. As a customer, you're in your supermarket quite frequently in a month. Whereas Lakeland, smaller business, heavily online, different customer profile, less frequent customer. I guess the first fundamental difference I saw was different customer profile meant, and different business need meant a different construct of scheme. So Lakeland's scheme ended up being a coupon type program. So it was really about giving discounts on overall basket spend and working with suppliers and partners to do stuff on individual products, was less digital than the Pick n Pay scheme was. Pick n Pay scheme was very much enabled on app, but was a different environment in terms of the South Africa market versus the UK market. So I guess, in a short answer, is designing a scheme that's fit for purpose for your business, that's going to meet your customers' needs. There's multiple facets to it that you have to think about when you launch a scheme. It's like, who your customer is, how are you going to sign them up, what channel are you going to sign them up to, which do you think will be most appropriate for them. But the one thing I would say, it's quite interesting because debated long and hard about, clearly the cheapest and fastest way to sign a customer up is in digital, so on the phone or on the website. However, not all customers want to do that, and some customers like to be able to fill it in on a paper form. And interestingly, you get more data when you sign them up on a paper form because you're with them and you're talking to them, and you'll get their email address and you'll get their physical address. So, for me, the real lesson is whatever you do, whatever the construct of your scheme is, when you start to think about how to sign your customers up, do give them the options and the choices. Don't naturally kind of go to which is the most cost-effective or cheapest way to do it, and make sure that when you start to design that sign-up process, that you have really good checks and balances in place to make sure that the data is accurate and clean.
Right, thank you, Steve. And my final question is, as being a decision maker for buying and implementing loyalty solutions, so what types of providers and partners win for you in terms of ROI? Points-based, or we're talking about points-based, coupons? Is it emotional loyalty, programming, gamification? Is there anything particular that really wins for you in terms of return on investment?
When you're first getting into loyalty, my view is you definitely need somebody to help you. You need a partner that understands not necessarily just about how to launch a program, but how to actually run it. So if you think about a loyalty program, depending on what you're doing, whether it's couponing or points or experiences, you need some sort of platform or engine to enable that. You can go cheap. A loyalty program doesn't have to be incredibly expensive. I mean, a good old-fashioned coffee card with the stamps on it is effectively a loyalty program. So there are ways of doing this in a low cost and building, but if you're going a coupon solution, you're going to need some way of actually enabling those coupons, getting them to customers, and then actually redeeming them, right, for example. So how do you decide who gets what coupon? How do you actually load that coupon and make it live? How do you actually redeem it? And then importantly, how do you measure redemptions and measure success? So that's one thing to think about. And you may need a partner to help with that. Same with points, the points engine, how it's calculated, how you distribute them, how you keep them, all those sorts of things. So there's an enablement of the program element, and then actually there's a insight element of it. So you can get swamped in data and insight, and there's a couple of elements to that. One is, how do you collect it and what does it look like, right? So dashboards, spreadsheets, PowerPoint, whatever that is. But then how do you interpret it and how do you actually do something with it? The so what for me is crucial. And my learning over time has been, you can overcomplicate this. I have to put myself in the feet of the person that's on the shop floor. What am I going to do with this? Do I need to sell more eggs? Do I need to change my range? Do I need to change my pricing? Do I need to run a promotion? Do I need to change the layout of my shop? But without somebody working with me to help me build that segmentation, to run the reports, to run the data, I wouldn't have understood what to do. And I would have been blinkered about the points or the coupons or the reward element of it, without actually learning on the background that I need to put in a better range of hot food. And that's not just for loyalty customers. It's for all customers. I guess the point around partners is, I think you need one. The level of engagement you need depends on, whether you need a Rolls Royce, I need a platform, I need an engine, I need a promotion setup, I need a data, I need an insight. It'll depend on the business. And the other thing that I've definitely learned is there's opportunity to transition that over time. So you'll quickly learn that there's elements you could just do yourself. And if you choose the right partner, they'll fully understand that and actually will want to help you do that. And they'll want to transition things in and grow you as a business. Because ultimately, if you've got the right guys, they're going to be doing the more strategic insight for you.
Oh, fantastic. Well, it's a great bio, Steve, that you have, and sharing all these insights and not really insights, it's your learnings, your experience, and this is what we wanted to achieve, and this is what I want to share with the audience. And there's a lot of companies, retailers that don't have a loyalty program, which is crazy in this day and age, who obviously now need to think about putting those in place. And this is something that they'll listen to and watch and feel like they've actually learned something, and that's solid value, I think.
Thank you. Just one last,
course.
It depends on who you are and the size of your business, but I think everybody who starts to think about launching a loyalty program, just, the initial thought in your head is, it's very expensive and really complicated, and will I really see the return? And whether you're a big multiple lots of shops, or you're just one standalone shop, that will be a similar kind of thing that's in your mind. And the one thing I have learned is it doesn't have to be. You don't have to spend millions of pounds and it be super complicated. You can spend a small budget and actually keep it really simple and still have a very successful program. And customers you will see a benefit that comes in return.
Amazing. Oh, well, thank you so much for sharing all that with me and spending your Thursday morning with me. Thank you so much for joining me on the Gift Club show, Steve. It's been lovely having you.
Thank you, Heidi. Thanks very much.
You're really welcome.